Today's throwback, we're having a look at the Amok Time Elvira Mistress of the Dark. This is a figure that Spot had a look at years ago for the spooky Spot season, and I thought with it being Halloween right now, why not go back and have a look at some of my favorite pieces that I put out on display for Halloween. Elvira comes with just a display stand, just a very simple display stand. Kind of a cobblestone flooring there, and there's one singular skull. It's not removable. This is all just one sculpted piece, but pretty solid paint. 2 peg holes you'll use for Elvira, although, truthfully, Elvira stands pretty good on her own. There's absolutely no issues with her standing, and that's because the way that they've sculpted the dress, it cascades out, but flattens off at the bottom. So there's absolutely no issue having her stand, although if you wanted to, you display her on the display stand like so. This figure is expensive. Actually, not truthfully that. When I first picked up the figure, it was normal retail price. It might have been maybe $14 or $15 that I picked up. I probably picked up in a comic book store. But unfortunately, Amok Time, though limited quantities when they produced this figure, skyrocketed. This figure has skyrocketed on eBay, and I've seen prices go as crazy as like $80. Some were selling this one sealed for $100. But is it worth it? I would say, I would not say it's worth the $80 to $100, but if you can get this figure for relatively a reasonable price, I think it's a fantastic figure. There's just something about certain characters that you automatically associate with certain maybe times of the year. For one reason or another, and just because I guess the nature of the character, Elvira, I always kind of pair really with Halloween. She, like the Michael Myers, like the Sams, all make it out during Halloween. During October, all these ones. I usually store these away. But when Halloween comes a-knocking, knock, knock, knock on my door, I'll always end up putting these ones out on display. Just kind of like a little shelf of Halloween figures, and Elvira usually is always out there as well. She comes with like a little dagger, although it's not removable. It's just sculpted in there. Speaking of sculpt I think is pretty good. Amok Time doesn't really do a lot of different figures. They've done, I think, some of the killer clowns and stuff like that, but I think they've also paired with a lot of more of the Soda Toys stuff. But Elvira, I keep wanting to say Elvira. I actually knew somebody with the middle name Elvira. But Elvira, I think, ends up being a pretty decent figure. She's got all the assets, so to speak, that Elvira would have had in real life. The big bun, beehive style hair as well. And I think it's a good likeness of Elvira as well, just, for her being a 6-inch figure. She's pre-posed. I mean, she's also pre-posed, which is sad. But I guess really for how you display her, that's Elvira. I mean, you wouldn't necessarily need to have a bend in her elbow where at any given point you would have the arms straight down, nor would you ever need to have the legs posable. So really, essentially, from like the neck down, it's all one sculpted piece. You can't do anything with the articulation here, which doesn't really bother me all that much. I kind of look at this more as a slightly posable statue more than I do an actual figure. But the hair's nice. It's got little tassels, kind of more just extensions from her sleeves cascading down, and they're all slightly torn. The studded bracelets there, a couple of rings on her fingers. Very, very well sculpted figure. Again, can't really do too much with it, but that's okay. Speaking of posability when it comes to Elvira, her head is on a ball joint. And I say ball joint, but you're really not going to do much with it. I mean, that's it. That's about it, what you see right there. It doesn't really move up and down. Really only left to right. That's about it. It does have a waist swivel. But the problem is, you start turning the waist too much, it just looks very disjointed from itself. So you kind of want to just keep it straight on. And as for her arms hinge, a little swivel at the bicep area. She also rotates at the hand. You could technically have the arms out like this, you know, and then just kind of move the hands accordingly so they look a little more right. I don't know if you would ever display Elvira, to be honest, like that. But I mean, it's some option. Ultimately, though, it makes more sense by the way that she's sculpted just to have her displayed like that. With the throwbacks, it gave Spot a perfect opportunity to have a look at some of the classic figures that I have in my collection that come out, maybe, you know, under moonlight, comes out only at Halloween time. Elvira definitely is at the top of the list as one of those figures, along with Michael Myers, along with Sam, always see light of day, or light of night, I should say, during Halloween. I would say, unfortunately, I could recommend this figure, but ultimately, you know, to get her aftermarket, she is super expensive. So if you're a fan of Elvira, I would say good luck hunting for her. You know what? You might be able to find her, you know, some seller maybe selling her for a fairly reasonable price. Or this is one of those figures that if you can go into a comic book store, like one of those deep, dark dungeons of a comic book store, you might maybe find like one of these figures on a peg somewhere way at the back, maybe for like $5. If you see this for $5, don't even like question it, just grab it. Just pick it up as soon as you can, because this figure is quite good. There's actually really not a lot of Elvira figures to start off with either, so to get a 6-inch treatment of her is very cool. Today's throwback, we were having a look at the Amok time, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more throwbacks heading your way, and other toy spots, collectible spots, and more. Thanks for watching, as you always do. I'll see you next time.